Hi, I'm Adam Tubman, and welcome to this week's episode of Dakota Skies Outdoors. Now this week we're headed about 2 hours northwest of Fargo to hunt our friend Sully's place. Now Sully's in high school, he doesn't get much time to hunt, but on this particular weekend he did have time to hunt between school and football practice during the fall. He called us up and said, hey, my fields are loaded up, you gotta come. Now this is still during the first big push of birds we had early October, just several days after that goose hunt you saw last week. So we went up, scouted it, the fields were loaded up, both of his roosts were loaded up, and we couldn't resist it. So we packed up everything, headed 2 hours north, and the footage will speak for itself.
Not impossible.
Gotta love the green.
Balls. Check this one out.
What do you think, DB?
Oh, got ourselves a nice specimen here. Almost got away. Had to turn around and whack him. Nice looking widgeon though.
Hand. I have no show.
Shoot, Captain. Go!
Now this was the setup that we had this day. Now as you can see, our roost was only probably 200, 300 yards maybe off to our west. And normally that's not a good thing. We try and stay away from the roost. But in this case, this is where we just had to set up. And actually with the wind that we had this morning, a northwest wind, it helped push the gunshot noises away from the roost. Or at least muffle them just enough so every time the guy shot into them, the birds on the roost never got up or flew away or anything. Now I guess there were two big factors that helped us be successful in this hunt. First off, the birds were obviously using the field. There were lots of birds on the roost. As you saw from the footage, they were probably close to 10,000 birds on this roost. Now the second part was, these right here were two little ponds that we had just to the east of us. Now some of the ducks weren't actually coming to the field. Early in the morning, they were just trading back and forth between the roost and these ponds. But as the sun came up, the morning went on, we were set up in a great traffic area. So when birds would leave the roost and maybe just trying to go to one of these ponds, we would catch them in the middle. And it turned out just to be a great traffic spot as well. Another thing that kind of worked against us, or actually really worked against us, but we had to make do. When we left Fargo, there was no snow. It was kind of rainy or whatever, but it definitely wasn't cold enough to snow. Now, about 2 hours west where we were hunting, we had about 2 inches of snow when we showed up. So what we did to combat that, we placed the blinds really close together. We put decoys in between them, and also just right out in front of the blinds to kind of help, because we did not have snow covers on the blinds. What we did, we just went and we started kicking up the stubble underneath all the snow to kind of make it look bare, so that just the blinds weren't the only thing that was sticking out of the snow. You can see we had a 10 to 15 mile an hour northwest wind. We set up our decoys and kind of this look at this L shape with the spinners right out here. And so the birds essentially came from the roost, and sometimes they would circle. Most of the time, I mean, it was like it was kind of almost like none of the birds wanted to be where we were at, because it seemed like they always started flying towards here, and then it was like they got to that magic point and they would suck right in. As you can see, as messy as it is, it worked for us. We put a pounding on them. So a couple of key notes: check your weather, not only for where you are, but for where you're going to be hunting. It really played a big factor of us. The ducks worked great. The geese, being a little bit smarter, they kind of picked us out, and we had lots of flocks of geese try and work into us. But just because you know, something was off, we weren't the same color as the snow, they were a little wary. Also, always try and maximize where you're going to be. Even if you can't get on the X, put yourself in between a roost and maybe a pond they're trying to go to, and run traffic on the birds. We set up a big spread on this day. We were probably running close to 15 dozen between geese and ducks. And then just take your time watching the birds, seeing what they're doing. They were packed really tight right in the middle of this field. So keynotes: check your weather, put yourself in a good position, and shoot straight. Now come back next time as we layer on the clothes, brave the wind, and shoot some more fat, big green heads in a North Dakota cornfield.